shine. All right, brother man, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. And how are you doing too?
I'm alive, man. I'm alive. What time is it there where you are in Korea?
It's about 12 p.m. No,
Okay, 12 p.m.
yeah,
afternoon.
afternoon. Yeah,
All right, good, good, good. It's 6 a.m. my time officially. You know what I'm saying? That 6 a.m. club. You know.
round rising.
All right, so tell me and the listeners your name. You know what I'm saying? How do we pronounce your name?
Okay. Uh, my name's Omojola Ayodele. So that's a Yoruba name.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Say one more time. Say a little louder for us, brother.
Omojola Ayodele.
Okay, a little louder and slower at the last name. Slower for us, brother.
Okay. Omojola Ayodele.
Omojola
Ayodele.
Ayodele. Omojola Ayodele. I like it. What does it mean?
Omojola means uh, a child is more valuable than wealth.
Mm. I
That's
gotta
my
write that down. I gotta write that down. That's gangster. Mm. A
or,
child.
or children are more valuable than wealth, riches and wealth. Yeah.
Mm, mm. Your parents, they weren't playing games, man. They were like, yo, powerful name.
Yeah, names
Mm-mm-mm.
are, names are meaningful. Names are not a joke in the African home. We
Mm,
don't just child. We give meanings.
mm.
Meanings. Yeah.
All right, all right. I like it. So let's start with your background and upbringing, and let's go from there. So tell us from childhood, and let's go from there.
Uh, you can call me Ayo. That's the short way people call me Ayo, and Ayo means joy. Ayo is just a boy from Africa, precisely Lagos, Nigeria. A boy that grew up in the hood, was being raised by a military dad and a mom who works really hard. I grew up around the whole uh, chaos of being amongst friends and foes, nuclear and extended families, knowing the struggles of life, knowing what it feels like not being, knowing what it feels like not having enough as a child, and knowing the value and the relevance of education. I grew up amongst, in short, I would just say I came from a maze. Where I come from is like a maze,
I
and
love it.
everyone is trying to get out of it and make something out of themselves. So I is just a regular African child trying to make ends meet.
Okay, and let's go into detail about you coming from a maze. Paint the picture for us.
It's all about the hustle and bustle. We have external factors that are affecting our society as a whole, as African people, as Nigerians. The government do not provide most of the basic amenities that are normal, like water, clean water, good roads, electricity. So when you grow up in this kind of background, you see life is so hard, and you go on the TV and you see how people from other parts of the world live, and you feel like, why is this life? I want to get out of this. That is a maze. It's like a place where you have no choice. You just feel like wherever you're going to be is going to be better than where you're at that moment.
Mm. So because you're now in Korea now, so let's say exactly before Korea, before you came to Korea, where were you? How old were you? What was your mindset before coming to Korea?
Honestly, I would say Korea has been an eye opener for me.
I know, but I'm saying like, where were you before you came to Korea? How old were you before that transition to Korea?
I was 28. I
You were
got to
28 in Nigeria.
in Nigeria. Yeah,
Okay,
about
so
about to be 28. Yeah, I got to Korea around May 2018. Yeah, no, August 2018.
okay, so let's talk about your 20s in Nigeria. What was going on in your
The
teenage 20s?
yeah, yeah. The teenage 20s was filled with struggles. Just like I
Talk
said.
about them. Talk about them. Talk about the. Let's talk about the smallest struggle and work our way up to the big struggle.
Oh, okay. The smallest struggle of it all was like having health issues and not having adequate health facilities or things that I could help facilitate my health, and my health condition posed as a threat to my academic life or my progress in life. I couldn't move forward because of just malaria and typhoid, you know. And secondly, the poor educational system, you not being able to get into uh, a university if you do not have a godfather, or if you do not bribe like a lecturer or a professor in the school. So these things kind of made my childhood weird and traumatizing sometimes, because I kept on trying and I kept on pushing, but there are these factors that do not just want you to progress as a basic African child. Yeah.
And so you said that your father comes from a military background. You
Yeah, of
know,
course.
so your father's a soldier. If, can we go into that? Can we go
Of
into
course.
that?
Of course. May he so rest in peace. My father was
Mm,
disciplined.
I mean,
My father was very disciplined, but I feel like I am more disciplined than my father. My father made me felt like I lived in the barracks, in the military barracks. It was all
mm,
about the books, going to the school, coming back home, getting you a lesson teacher, no time to play. You know, my father raised me in a way where I couldn't be easily distracted. No, he didn't buy toys for me. Whenever I asked him to buy toys for me, he told me to go read my books and play with myself or play with my
mm,
sisters. And
mm.
today now I see the relevance of why my father never bought me toys. Like, I do not need anything to entertain myself. My mind is already an entertainer.
Talk
Like,
that
wherever
talk.
I want to impact knowledge on people, I want to inspire people. Like, I want to tell people you can do anything you want to do with yourself. You are you. You know, no one
Mm,
can. Yeah.
I love it. So let's talk about you. You said your mother very hardworking. Let's talk
Yeah.
about that. How does
Mama
that
was a
affect you?
very hardworking. Mama is still hardworking. She's just a trader. She's just a trader. She sells frozen foods, and she made sure she provided. And when dad wasn't, because dad was always stationed, like traveled to China and went to other parts of the world as a naval officer. So mom was always in the house working. You know, when the money comes in, like when they send money back home, it takes longer. There wasn't much internet at that time.
Mm,
Mama had
mm,
to receive checks and wait to the end of the month to get checks. And before the checks come in, Mama needs to work hard to provide for us. We were five, and gives us food, like give up good clothes and make us looks good, you know. So
mm,
big thanks to Mama. Like, she was really hardworking.
mm, mm. All right. What year were you born, and what month of the year were you born?
I was born in August 1990, 28th of August 1990.
Okay, 20th of August, 1990. Okay, okay, okay. All right. So let's talk about. So you said you moved to Korea in 2018.
Yes.
So let's talk about how you got an opportunity to get into Korea.
Oh, okay. Before I go into that, let me say I studied in Nigeria and I also studied in Ghana. I
Okay,
did my
okay.
bachelor's in Ghana. So one fateful afternoon, I was flying from Katuka International Airport, Ghana, Accra, Ghana, to Lagos, and I met this man. It was in his early 40s, and he was like, "Young man, can I have a pen from you?" And I gave him the pen, and then he used my pen and he returned the pen, and he asked me questions like, "Young man, what do you do in Ghana?" And I was like, I just finished my bachelor's and going back home to see my parents. And he asked me, what would you like to do after this? And I said, I wanted to go do my master's, but I didn't know where I want to go do it. And he gave me his card. And when I checked the card, he was a professor. He is a professor here in Korea. He's a professor here in Korea. And I got home, I reached out to him, sent him an email, sent my transcript to his Gmail account, and boom, that's how I got here to Korea. He just helped me facilitate the whole process. Easy.
Always give somebody the pen when they ask for the pen. Always give
Always have.
somebody the
Always
pen.
have.
Here you go. Here you go. Indeed, indeed, indeed. Okay, so now you send him the transcripts. Okay, you send him the transcripts. You were able to get there. What is that next step?
The
Just
next
to
step
give the
was
listeners and us the journey to Korea. You know what I'm saying?
it was kind of I almost got discouraged because during the time when I started doing the processing, the documents that were required, my father was falling ill. My father was ill, so I needed to take care of my dad, drive him to the hospital, and also take charge of the embassy. So it was really difficult for me. I thought of taking a pause on my academics, like the processing, and take care of my dad squarely. But my dad was like, no, you can do both. Just make sure you
Mm.
prepare yourself.
Still going hard from the end, your dad. He was still going in hard. Respect.
And trying to go to the embassy in Nigeria, the Korean embassy in Nigeria, they are just people that wouldn't just want you to do things. Like they are just there to discourage you. But as a person, you should be strong. You should have a strong will and always have the zeal to say no. I met people that told me to give up and stop processing. I met people that just don't want to help me at all. The document that were asked for me to provide felt unrealistic to me. You know, the amount of money that I needed to have in a bank account were kind of unrealistic for me. Like, where can I get such amount of money? You know, who do I know? I don't know no one. I only know my dad and my mom. How do we get this amount of money? Where do I know? You know, these things are the challenges that I faced, and it just came. Like, I really don't know how it happened. It was just a miracle. Yeah, it was a miracle.
I love it. I love it. Okay, let's talk about that first day in Korea. When you land in Korea, let's talk about that. Seoul, Korea, right? You landed in Seoul, Korea.
Yeah, Seoul, Korea.
Okay, let's talk about that
Seoul,
first day you
Korea.
landed.
First day I landed in Korea, the air was different. You know, the the things were so easy. Getting a bus from the airport to my dormitory was easy peasy. The everywhere was so clean, and I don't know. I felt like it was like a dream. You know, it was like a dream. And also, I really don't. I almost cried because I felt like my people are lacking behind, and we are. Oh man, I felt so sorry for the African government, the leaders back home. Like they see how life is over here, and they do not just want us to have an idea of what it feels like, you know, what real life is. You do not need to go to war against your government to ask for basic amenities. Like, these are things that the government is supposed to provide for you. But you know, anyways, I felt great. I felt great. I felt inspired. I felt like one day I will become someone that would provide stuff like this for my people back home, because I have seen like this is good life and
I
every
love it.
human deserves.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. All right. So you still studying in Korea now?
Uh, Presently, I took a break from school. The master's program is a 2 year program. I took a break from school just because of some tuition issues. Like, it was kind of difficult for me to pay tuition, so I took a break from school and started doing modeling. Yeah.
Okay. So what inspired you to get into modeling? Let's talk
Hmm.
about let's talk about that. Did you always want to be a model?
You know, the kind of parents you have sometimes determine the kind of future you will have. You know, I think as parents, we should always inspire our kids, even when they say no. My mama always told me, hey man, you should model. And I would be like, no, I don't want to do this. She'll be like, when you get to South Korea, try to look for something like those modeling agencies and do something. Like, please, I can see you doing it. And I'll be like, no. So I used to do a lot of presentations in class here in Korea. Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah, I
go
used to
ahead.
do a lot of presentations. I love presentations, like business presentations, like case study, you know, coming in front of the class and just explaining things to my classmates. It's kind of fun for me. So a classmate of mine, she saw an ad on Craigslist. They said they needed an African to act like a buyer for Samsung commercial SD card, Samsung SD card. And she sent me the link, and I was kind of like, no, I don't want to do this. And she said, Ayo, you can do this, you can do this. And I sent an application, I auditioned, and they called me. I went for the audition, and boom, I got the gig. That was how it started. And on that day, when I was doing the first gig in my life, I met a guy. His name is Rasmus. He's about 42 to 43 now. He has been in Korea for about 5 to 6 years doing modeling. And Rasmus said, "Hey, bro, I think Koreans are going to like your look. This is what you need to do. You need to take new photos. I'll send you some contact agencies you need to contact." And he sent me those things, and I did all he asked me to do. And here we are today.
Mhm.
That
Oh,
gig,
oh,
that connect, it
I,
just opened the way for me.
shouts out to the Connect, or shouts out to Ramos. Ramos. Let the world know, Ramos, we love you. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to Rasmus.
Shouts out to
Rasmus,
Rasmus.
Rasmus, we love you, Rasmus.
Rasmus. You out here impacting the future,
Honestly,
Rasmus. What was I gonna say? But okay, now let's talk about that first fashion gig that you got from Craigslist. Okay, let's
it's
talk
not a
about.
fashion gig, but it's a commercial for
I'm sorry,
Samsung.
brother. I'm sorry. Commercial for Samsung.
Yeah.
Talk that talk.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about, that whole process from the beginning to the end of it. And let's start from the beginning and the middle of it. To walk us through that first commercial for Samsung.
Wow, I was shaking. I do not know how to dance. They required me to do some acting. I do not know how to act. They required me dancing and doing some moves. I do not know how to do these things. I was shaking, but I had Rasmus because he also got the gig. I had Rasmus beside me, just giving me a thumbs up and telling me, "Bro, you can do this. You're doing great." And I felt encouraged and I did it. But it was kind of stressful because I wasn't comfortable with most of the things that they asked me to do since it was my first time. But yeah, it was worth it. It was worth it.
Mm. So can we ask what your first Samsung commercial gig they paid you? Just so people
Yeah, of course.
understand. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah,
no, what was
all
the
the
amount?
job.
What was the amount?
It was about I think it was about $500, just a few hours, just like 1 hour 30 minutes. It
500, you
was about
said?
$500. Yeah,
Perks.
yeah,
Korean money is called
$500.
perks.
Yeah, yeah.
Korean dollars is called
No,
perks.
no, Korean one. That no Korean currency. It's called won.
Oh,
Korean won.
won. I'm
So I was
sorry.
just kind of
Oh,
equivalent in dollars.
okay,
Yeah,
okay, okay. So 500 US
500.
dollars.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
and Korean, how much is that in Korean? Because remember, you know what I'm saying, we have listeners from all over the world. They want to understand what this Korean money sounds like. So you're saying it's called wons?
The Korean one. And note, at that time, my first time, I had no idea about the industry. I I I got to realize that there are lots of people that take advantage of people. They just want to use you. They're not going to pay you the right amount. And an African child coming from Africa, not knowing what these things are, just seeing $500, you doing something for 1 hour and getting $500, you're going to take it. You have no idea. You never knew you could be paid more. I got to realize after 1 year later that I could have gotten more if I had an agency or if I had a guardian. Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
understand.
let's say it's
And
equivalent to 500.
we're gonna get to that whole thing about the fashion taking the people taking advantage of you in agency. We're gonna get there, but before we get to that part first, you know what I'm saying, brother. So let's. What is Korean currency called? One more time.
Korean one, Korean one,
Korean won.
Korean one, KRW.
Okay, Korean won. Okay, all right. So you're saying that. So how much in Korean was it for your first show? Like, what was the Korean?
Let's say about 500,000.
500,000. Oh, that sounds beautiful. You know what I'm
500,000.
saying?
Yeah, it sounds beautiful.
500,000. I ain't gonna lie. That sounds beautiful. That was like 500,000. It's relaxed, brother. It's really 500. You know what I'm saying? But okay, I got you. I got you. So, what did you learn in that first commercial for Samsung?
Yeah, I learned that nothing is impossible for you to achieve. As an African child, again, growing up and watching televisions ad for Pepsi's and Coca-Cola, you see black people doing ads for these big companies, and you'll be like, how did they get there? How did they do it? You never can tell. You can also do it. You can even do better. When I did the first one for Samsung, and I was like, man, I can do better than this. If I can do Samsung, then I'm going far. It inspired me. It made me wanted to do more. I stayed hungry, and here we are.
Got you. Got you. Um, so then from there, you said Ramos, shout out to Ramos. He sent you some, he said, okay,
Rasmus,
I need, say it again.
Rasmus.
Rasmus. I'm sorry, Rasmus. I'm sorry, Rasmus. Okay, so Rasmus, where's Rasmus from?
Rasmus is from Denmark.
Okay, he's from Denmark. Okay, so Rasmus said, "Hey, send me some of these pictures. Go take some pictures. Send it to me. Contact these agencies." So, what were the agencies that you contacted?
I don't want to mention the names, but what he told me was take pictures, get a com card. A com card is like, you know what a com card is? A com
No.
card is a kind of a file that has pictures of and your details as a model, name, location, age, your hobbies, and several photos of you. So Rasmus said, get a good photographer, create a com card. After you create a com card, let me know. I will send you contact of agencies in Korea. And I did that, got a photographer, did a photo shoot, created a com card, contacted Rasmus again. He sent me the contact of those agencies, about 15 agencies, contact of all the relevant ones that are doing well in Korea. And I sent them my portfolio, like my com card, and they told me if we have a job for you, we will contact you. And that's how it started. Yeah,
Got you. So, how many more gigs did you do before you were part of an agency officially?
lots of gigs, over 25 to 30.
Okay.
Like what I have on my Instagram. What I have on my Instagram is different from the real life. I want to control the audience and show them something specific. Like if I feel like I wanted to start posting all the gigs that I did or I've done in Korea, I think that it will be too much. So slow and steady wins the race. I just want to show people the fashion aspect of what I do. So I've done over 50 gigs, honestly, over 50, more than before I became part of an agency.
Mm. So, just for listeners who are listening right now, his Instagram, his username is OMJAYO. Go check him out right now. And you know what I'm saying? Put that, tell him Influencers on the Run sent you, so give him a follow, you know. Um, your thing says, okay, it says absconding adversities, your bio.
Yeah,
What does that
yeah.
mean, brother? Talk to us.
Mm. Do you want me to answer from the shallow point of view or from the deep point of view?
Let's take both. Let's take both. Give us both.
Okay. Absconding adversities for me means doing away with distractions on the shallow point of view, doing away with things that would not make you reach your full potentials. And from the deep point of view, absconding adversities is spiritual. Coming from an African home, everything is spiritual to us. Everything has to do with spiritual things, and I want to stay sane, stay clean, as a person so that I can tap into my full potentials. So I will do whatever I have to do to to stay away from those things. So adversities are those stumbling blocks and those little distractions that we see as little but are big. Yeah.
Got you. And so you also say in your bio, it's the unseen work that matters. Talk about it. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, I've got to okay. The whole Instagram thing is kind of toxic and addictive. Social media in general. And when I started doing this, I was so carried away with the fact that I just wanted to show what I was doing like all the time. I went for a photo shoot. I want to post on my story, and I had to sit down one day and be like, man, this it's not always about the what you show. Like, and I felt like I do not want to show more of what I do. I just want to show more of results. And this same word, it's the unseen work that matters, applies to our general life. Like Instead of becoming a show off, why don't you just work in secret and let the results speak for you? You know, those things that you show might not matter. The effort you put into work, those are the things that matter. The effort, the time, the dedication, the zeal, those are the most things that are most important in the work. They are even more important than the result, the experience, the journey, how I got from being an African child to being in South Korea. The experience matter more than me to me than being a model now.
Got you. Got you. I love it. I love it. So before you said that, before you, but went with the agency, let's talk about how you got gigs, okay? Because we also want to talk to the audience and those who also want to get into modeling. So before you were represented by your agency, how were you getting gigs? How were you going out there? You know what I'm saying? How were you representing yourself?
Oh, okay. It's like when you want something, no one has to. You have to be your own motivator. So what I did was at the end of every year, since I've been doing modeling for about 2 years in Korea, so at the end of every year or at the end of every 6 months, I go online and I search for all the emails of the agencies in Korea first, pick up the emails of the agencies in Korea and send my com card to them first. Then secondly, every morning when I wake up, like my routine, before I started this call with you, after workout, I search online. There are websites in Korea where they post gigs. Every morning I search online and I make sure I apply to jobs. Sometimes I get like 5 applications. I apply sometimes one day, but every day I make sure I send an application online. So I search online, send applications, search for new agencies. They call me for interviews or just for uh, casting calls, and that's what I do every morning. Search online. It's a
Oh,
global market now. Jobs are online
I
in
love it.
Korea.
I love it. I love it. Okay. Now, for those who are listening in Korea right now, can you share some websites that you wake up in the morning and, what I'm saying, and that you go to and check out? Like, what are some of the names of those websites?
Yeah, there are websites like Craigslist, Craigslist, and there are Korean websites like filmmakers.co.kr. That website is a Korean website, and even if foreigners outside Korea try to access the website, they might not have a full understanding of the website because it's kind of tricky. So even if I drop the website, when they search on the website, they might not be able
True,
to
true, true,
search.
true. But still give those details, brother. We're about giving value. Even so, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? But still give them value. Let them know. Share the
So
game.
yeah, before I got signed to my agencies, I used to surf Craigslist, Korean Craigslist, and filmmakers. .co.kr, and there are lots of Facebook groups in Korea where you can join film, and when they post lots of ads there, you can get lots of jobs there. That was what I did before I got signed to the agency.
Okay. Now let's talk about, before you got signed to the agency, how much on average were you making, what I'm saying, in terms of money per gig before you got signed to agency?
Uh, the I think for now the standard should be
No, 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 no,
one.
no. Not the standard. How much were you making before you got signed? You know what I'm saying? Before you knew
Before I
the
got
game. Before we're talking about before you were educated and you understood how much you should be getting paid. We're talking about the
ah,
struggle days.
okay, if it fluctuates, but are we allowed to talk about money here?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Because remember, this is also for other fashion people to understand your journey to where you're
Yeah.
coming from. You know,
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
people
Yeah.
listen around the world. They need to understand it. They need to hear that value, hear what you went through, so they know as well.
Okay, there are 3 stages. There's a time when I started with when Rasmus educated me, told me what to do, and when I gained more information, about the industry, and when I got signed to the agency. Getting
True,
signed to
true,
the
true,
agency.
true, true. We're gonna get to the agency part. We're gonna get to we're gonna get there. Don't worry.
Oh,
But before we get there, let's talk about those struggle days.
the struggle days, honestly, when I started, sometimes I don't make $200 in a month.
Hey, you gotta talk that talk, brother. You got to tell. Okay, indeed, indeed.
Yeah, 200. Like sometimes in a month, $400, and sometimes maximum $600 in a month. When I started without less information, information is power. And with more information and contacts without the agency, I got to start making about 2,500, in a month. And yeah,
Got you,
that's it.
got you. So also, besides the money, before you got to an agency, okay, besides that, what did you learn from each of those gigs that you were doing? So we know that you started bang bang in the Samsung, okay?
Mm.
And then each gig after that, what did you learn?
Uh, I learned that people are different. You meet people. If you're as a person, you want to meet people on a daily basis, you need to have the right attitude. There are people you're gonna meet that wouldn't want to interact with you. They don't know you for the first time. They don't care about you. But you need to have the right attitude. Like for example, when I'm going for before I started, like when I started without letting when I go to a shoot, I prepare my mind. Whoever I'm going to meet, I will be nice to the person. Like I will have the right attitude. I don't care if they are older than me or younger than me. I will have the right attitude. Because, for example, if I meet a female model in a shoot and we are supposed to take photo shoots together, if I don't break the barrier between us, the photo shoot will be awkward. So when I get to the shoot at first, I try to create a conversation. Hey, how are you doing? Nice to meet you. Tell me about yourself. What do you like to do? She feels very comfortable, right? And when we're about to do the first shoot, it feels natural. So I learned that interaction, communication facilitates work. That's the key. That's the one thing that I do, and it's been working for me.
I love it. I love it. What else? You know what I'm saying? Because like we're gonna get. I know there's a lot of things you do. You know what I'm saying when you're with the photographers and different scenes. You know different things. But what else did you learn before you got signed to the agency?
Um, I learned that you cannot know all. You cannot know all. Information will always be withheld from you. You cannot know all, but with time, you will get to know more. But you cannot know all, and people are out there willing to take advantage of you. You will be taken advantage of, like at all time, but you would learn from your mistake as a person, and you become a better person. So, um, and also the photographer aspect of it, there are different photographers. Like there are photographers that are active, there are photographers that want a certain concept. The same concept that I used with models, I also do the same with photographers. When I get to the location, I break the barrier and make the photographer feel comfortable too, because it works both ways. It's art, and if it's not natural, it's nonsense. So everything has to come from within. So I create a line with the photographer. We talk, we get to know each other. I tell him, please feel free to correct me and tell me if I'm doing something wrong. They always feel relaxed, and we get the work done.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So now in your bio, that's the agency you're signed to now.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Can we talk about it?
Of course, of course, of
Okay.
course.
So what was that aspect of finding the right agency to represent you?
Hmm. I think friends have been really helpful to me in Korea. My friend, his name is Joseph. He's a model, Joseph Kopp. Shout out to Joseph Kopp and his wife.
Joseph
Yeah,
Kopp, we see you, brother. We see you. We hear
yeah.
you around the world.
Shout out to Joseph Cope and his wife, Hannah. Yeah, and their lovely baby, Rowan. Joseph was like signed to the agency, and I think we talked about it. Yeah, and then I sent an application to the agency, and they reviewed, and yeah. because I got signed.
Hold up. We're moving too fast. We're moving too fast, brother. We're moving too fast. I mean, I'm sure they weren't the only agency you reached out to in the beginning, or they were the first one you reached out to, or there were other ones as well.
They were not the first one, but based on calculations and what I actually wanted for myself,
Mm-hmm.
I felt like, and based on the conversations that I had with Joseph and the advice that I got for him, it was certain that Viva Model Management was the right agency for me.
All right.
Yeah,
Shouts out Viva Model Agency. Shouts out to you guys.
yeah.
You got the future. But before we go into them, let's talk about the other ones and comparing because I'm sure. Actually, first, Joseph. Okay, how did you meet Joseph? What
I
was the
met
background?
Joseph at a fashion show. It was a mini fashion show. I met him at a fashion show. He was just sitting down, very chilled, very calm. You know, I like calm people. And I think I approached him loud, and I approached him. Yes, like bro, what's good? How you doing? And we started talking, and yeah, we exchanged contact, and then yeah, I checked his Instagram. I saw what he was doing. Yeah, I like what he was doing. I learned from what he was doing, and yeah, we are not really that close, but yeah, he's a good part. Whenever I meet him on a show, like for a shoot, like everything goes on well. Yeah,
I love it. I love it. I love it. So, what was that? What show was that you guys met at? What was that
we
show?
had we have met on many shows, but the first one
Yeah,
was
but
a
I'm talking about
mini
the first
fashion.
one. Mini fashion show for what
It was
brand?
it was for a Korean designer that has designed for Gucci. I can't remember the name of the brand name, but
Mm-mm-mm.
she
Come
has
on,
done
brother.
that.
Come on,
Yeah,
brother. Come on, brother. What's going on, brother?
I
Come
can't remember
on,
the name.
brother.
But yeah, I can't
Yeah.
remember. It's a designer that has worked with Gucci. So they were doing like an opening ceremony for a new hotel, a new like a very big hotel. I think it was like a 4 to 5 star hotel here in Korea, and they used the opportunity to do a mini fashion show with the guests inside, and it was nice. It was nice.
Okay. I love it. So, based on you, what, okay, you, we're not going to mention any other agencies, but I want you to tell me what was the conversation with the other agencies versus this agency, versus Viva Model Management. We see you. So what was like, when you were talking to that other, let's say agency CCDE, and then Viva was like, this is what we can give you versus what they said they can give you. And why did you go with that? Beside, not only because of Joseph's advice, what I'm saying, but what else as well?
Uh, the other agency do not care about what I wanted. Like they they don't they don't buy my vision. You know, I have a vision. In the other agency, all they care about was just to have a black model. I don't want to use the word black because I am not
No,
black.
no, talk that talk, brother. Talk that talk, brother.
We get into that conversation later. Uh, they just wanted to have a model of my skin color. Like that's all they care about. So they can just use you. And I do not want to be used, you know. So those agencies do not care about me. They just wanted to make use of what I have got to offer. And Viva, I think that they have an idea, they have a vision, and I buy the idea. I feel like, yeah, this goes in line in tune with what I want to do as a
Mm,
model in
mm,
Korea.
mm. Yeah, we gonna get back to that black part. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get back to it because I got some questions down for that as well. Okay. So now let's talk about how long have you been working with Viva Model Management?
About 5 months now.
Okay, so
Let's
you're
say
fresh.
five.
So you're fresh in it. You're fresh in it. Okay, so has it been an upgrade for you? Like
Yeah, me-
let's talk about the level you were at before and now what's the level you're on with Viva Model Management.
it has been an upgrade. You know, I see things differently now. I realized that first of all, they made me realize that you cannot do it all as a person. My father used to say, if you want to go far, you go alone. If you want to go further, you go with a team. You know, they made me now believe in teamwork. I lost hope in teamwork. Like I always wanted to do my things my way. But before I was doing it my way, I was doing fine, but I wasn't doing it right. You know, there's a right way to do things. And now with Viva, I think I can do things right in the right way. Yeah. And like I said, the goal is to go global. You know? So I think with Viva, in time, I can reach to my full potentials. Yeah.
Got you. Got you. I love to hear it, brother. I love to hear it. I love to hear it. So, another thing what I was going to say. So, what else did you learn? Like, how was the upgrade from being a free agent to being represented by Viva Model Management?
Mm, it was just like it was not that really special to me. Uh it was just like most of the things that it was just the lesson that I learned, like the things that I learned that I got getting signed to Viva. Wow, it was mind blowing. I see things differently, and I realized that there are people that want to take advantage of you, and things that I used to accept before that I thought was right were actually wrong. And
Give us an example. Give us an example.
like working as a free as like a freelance model before without an agency representing me, when an agent reach out to me for a job, I just accept the offer. And one of the one of the lessons that we learn from business is that never accept the first offer. You know, when someone makes an offer to you, you never accept the first offer. So before I was a freelance model, when they reach out to me, I just accept it and we get the job done without even asking much questions, without asking details about the job. How long do you want to use my image? Are you going to make a video? You know, what are you going to do with my image? Where are you going to put it on what platform? You know, these things. And with Viva now, I realize that, man, I have a right to ask these things. I need to know how long they want to use my image, where they want to use my image, how much they're going to pay me. Are they going to take down the image after a certain month, after the certain agreed month? So yeah, it's educational for me. For me, it's mind opening. It's opened my mind being with Viva.
I love it. I love it. I love it all. Okay, so you're saying that, before you just go to a gig, you wouldn't negotiate. You wouldn't be like, I want 50,000. You just be like, okay, I'll take it. So now I love that information. I love it all. Okay, I love it all. So what are some misconceptions you feel about being a model that the world needs to know about for you as a
Okay.
model?
First of all, the culture here, they're being influenced by the American culture. So when they see people of my skin color, they generally tag us as the black. You know, that's why I said I was going to come back to this conversation. I am not black. I know where I come from. I'm looking you into the eyes. I'm Yoruba from Nigeria. I know where I come from. I know the history of my people, the cultures and tradition. I am not black, you know. And when someone calls me black, it offends me. I have been tagged as a black person in Korea. I am being tagged as a black model in Korea. So the general stereotype being a black model in Korea is street fashion. They only call you for street to do street fashion. Just that's all. So
Okay.
because of the
Okay.
stereotype, So I feel like being a black model in Korea, we are not allowed to tap into the full potentials of the industry, not ourselves, of the industry.
Talk that talk. Let's go deeper. Let's go. People need to hear this, brother. We need to hear this. Okay. So, with that being said, so you're basically saying that, you know, people where you are in your industry currently, okay, which I'm sure is probably in a lot of places, not just in Korea, but you're saying because if they call you a black model, okay, that means that they only want you to do street fashion.
When they call you a black model, there's a specific thing that they want you to do, which is street fashion.
Mm.
You should know, you should do street fashion. You should know how to play basketball. you should know how to rap, you should know how to dance. And these things do not apply to some of us. Like we come from
It
different
doesn't
backgrounds.
apply to anybody. It doesn't apply to anybody. I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. But yes, continue. So you're saying that, you know what I'm saying, that they just say, hey, stereotypical, what you see on TV, that's what you should be doing, basically.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yes. But
Hmm.
that's what they offer you. That's what they offer you.
Hmm.
That's what they offer, not what you should be doing. That's most of the gigs that if you want to do a lookbook, that's what they offer you. But things are changing now. You know, things are changing now.
So
That's why.
I wanted to ask you this.
Hello. Thank you for watching this video. If you'd like to continue watching the full video, please either email us at influencersonTheRun, or you can join our Patreon Proud to Pay program to allow us to continue making content like this. Or if not, you can go in the link below and there will be a link to listen to the full conversation via audio. Thank you very much. I'd love to hear what you'd like to say about this in the comments section. And hey, influencers on the run.